I want to talk about people who buy at auctions where they don't have the opportunity to inspect the item and they rely only on the auctioneer's photographs. So I'm an example of someone who buys most things on auctions online. I'd rather not do that. I like seeing the item and handling the item, and if you do go to sale to look at a particular item, you'll nearly always find other things you want to buy as well. But with the online viewing, it's rather more surgical, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home, and it takes less time. So, for example, these two pictures I bought online, and my personal experience of buying online is you're very, very, very rarely disappointed. The times usually when I'm disappointed is when I've rushed the viewing online. For example, I bought a picture a few weeks ago, expecting it to be quite a big picture, and I was very disappointed when the parcel came. I knew as soon as I saw the parcel I'd made a mistake. So you have to look at the measurements. That's an obvious thing. And I would also say that if the auction house has been careless in pictures, and the exposure is not very good, or the lighting is not very good, or there's not many photographs, I'd say that's not a good sign. And that's another area where I have taken chances and regretted it. But most auction houses will do good pictures, and they will do many good pictures, and they will do reasonable descriptions. You can ask for further information if you want to, ask for condition reports and further photographs. If you want to, you can do that. But I find generally, if you buy online, you get the item that comes to you. Usually 9 times out of 10 I have actually been surprised and very pleased with the item being better than I had anticipated. So when you buy online, you have to be aware of the issue of getting it moved. Sometimes I collect the item myself if I'm in the neighbourhood, and usually I have to have it posted, and that applies to things I buy in England or in France or in anywhere else for that matter. You have to make sure the auction house will either post it themselves or know a firm locally who will post it for the buyer. The buyer has to pay for the postage, obviously, and insure it if they want to. And it's not usually a problem finding a person or company who will send the item for you. It's very hard with furniture, and it's very hard with very heavy items. It's very hard with guns or ammunition or ivory or things, certain timbers which are not easy to ship because they have to be specially certified. So if you have to be careful what you're shipping. I don't want to get into ivory, I don't want to get into fur or animal parts. I don't want to get into guns or ammunition or knives for shipping purposes. Not a great fan of glass for shipping because it does get broken, and a lot of shippers don't really want to deal with it. And gold gesso frames, elaborate frames, will get broken as well. So you have to be careful what you ship. But sometimes you'll find things that can be shipped for reasonable amounts and they're not likely to be broken. So as long as you're willing to do the paperwork, which takes a long time, and arrange these shipments and the shipping as well, you can spread your buying outside the traditional orbit, which would traditionally have been the local auction houses in your neighbourhood. The problem of buying just locally is your choice is very limited. You have a choice of a lot of different things, which may or may not be what you want. But if you have a global reach with the internet, then you can pick what you want to buy very accurately, and your reach is very much greater. But I've got to say that in England in the last year, I used to hate paying postage on items within England. But I've got to say recently, the cost of postage is not far in excess of the cost of fuel to actually go in a car to get it yourself. So when I'm buying in England, I'm not really that bothered anymore so much about the post. The post is slow and it takes a long time to arrange it. So if you are willing to wait 2 or 3 weeks, that's the way to deal with it, because you get prices for the quotations from these postal services companies, and it does take time. And if you want it quickly, you end up paying a really very high premium. It can be 2 to 3 times as much money if you rush the courier. So I'm very careful to say to the courier, I don't care how long it takes. I'm very careful to say to the courier, use old wrapping materials if you want to. I don't want what they call in America white glove service, where the customer in America can choose between white glove or economy or intermediate. White glove means a shipper will take the item from the auction house and they will bring it to your home unpacked and hang it for you and take care of all the duties, and you can imagine how much that costs. I'm quite happy for this to come in a packet by slow post, snail mail, whether it's land or road haulage or sea if it's abroad. I'd rather pay less on the post and wait and be patient. So we have this lovely situation now where we can buy online. In France, I think at the moment there's 190 auctions a day, for example. So if you add in Sweden and Germany and Italy and America, you can imagine Belgium, Holland, you can imagine that the choice is incredible and growing all the time. And I think that if you are worried about buying online, buying at an auction online, I think that it's perhaps time to try it and be more relaxed about it. There are auction sites where they will take care of the post for you at a reasonable rate. There are other auction sites where they very much want you to deal with it yourself, and once you've tried it, it's a really pleasant experience. It's not like Christmas every day, but it's a really nice thing to get a parcel with an item you bought online remotely, and when you get it right and you've bought it at a good price and it hasn't got damaged and it hasn't been too long and it's a bit nicer than the photographs, it's a lovely feeling. What it really means, you can buy and select what you really want to collect, and you can be more discriminating. And sometimes, of course, the price is more than you want, sometimes it's less than you want. Anyway, I hope that's been interesting.